Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Josh Gottheimer of New Jersey, co-chair of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and a member of that caucus, Republican Congressman Fred Upton of Michigan. Congressman Upton, you joined just 34 Republicans to vote yes on the bill. Why do you think the majority of your fellow House Republicans voted no?
Well, there was a lot of pressure, I think, from the top to vote against it. But, you know, at the end of the day, Katko, the top Republican on the Homeland Security Committee, was given the order, given the suggestion to move forward, to see if he could strike a bipartisan accord. He did so. It was regular order, and at the end of the day, we won by, 75 votes or something like that on the final vote. On the over-under, if someone had made a bet, they probably would have won. We did a little better than I think people expected.
Are you concerned that you're going to face consequences from Kevin McCarthy or Donald Trump?
No, I don't think so. I mean, this is, we'll see what the Senate does. But this was a bipartisan, independent commission. You can't do anything unless it has bipartisan support. So at least one Republican has to be with all the Democrats or vice versa to get it done. But at the end of the day, we need to find out the answer to the questions. Who knew what, when, and, what did they do about it? And, let the chips fall where they may.
Okay, that is absolute logic. So, Congressman Gottheimer, you were just named the most bipartisan House Democrat. What does that get you, a trophy? Because at the end of the day, how do you work with a party that can't support logic, what Congressman Upton just laid out?
Definitely not a trophy. But I'll tell you, Stephanie, in order to get this done, as you know, and get it out of the Senate, we're going to need to get 60 votes. And it starts with trying to build that bipartisan support for this. The fact is, we had a lot of Republicans break with their leadership yesterday because they recognize that this is not a partisan issue. The commission is bipartisan, it's bicameral, and the bottom line is it's meant to get to the bottom of an attack on our democracy, which is our country. It's not a partisan issue. About 20 of the people who voted yesterday in the Republican Party in the House were members of the Problem Solvers Caucus. Our whole mission is to find the places where we can agree. We came together and we did agree. And, this is going to take a fight like everything takes a fight in such a partisan atmosphere. But again, this is bipartisan and the commission's bipartisan. And this is about our democracy, which is just red, white and blue. So I'm really hopeful we'll get this done.
Again, logic. Congressman Upton, I want to share a bit of what Congressman Tim Ryan said last night about all of this and really calling out Republicans for not being rooted in reality. Please watch this.
If we're going to take on China, if we're going to rebuild the country, if we're going to reverse climate change, we need two political parties in this country that are both living in reality, and you ain't one of them.
That sort of sounds like something anyone's dad could say at the dinner table who's not political at all. Does it make sense to you?
Well, I was on the floor when he spoke. I spoke just a little bit before he did. But that's really what the Problem Solvers Caucus is all about. We're upset about the dysfunction that's there, and everybody sees it, whether they're inside the Beltway or outside. And so what our caucus did, we looked at the facts, we endorsed it. Most of us then on both sides voted for it. All the Democrats did, but a good number of the Republicans in the Problem Solvers Caucus. But we were successful in changing the rules a bit in the House. But this, in essence, we went regular order. We let the committee do its work. Members voted for it. And at the end of the day, 75 vote difference. So hopefully that sends the signal to the Senate. Maybe they make some adjustments. If they don't, maybe it comes back to the House and it's just a House committee. But at the end of the day, we need to have an answer to the questions that we asked. It would be better to do it with both parties sitting at the table, and that's what this bill did.
To that very point, Congressman Gottheimer, Nancy Pelosi is going to put together an investigation, some sort of commission, no matter what. Why wouldn't Republicans want to have a say in this? I mean, you remember right after the insurrection, you had some Republicans saying it was Antifa that did this. We know it wasn't, but wouldn't this give the opportunity to show that if that were true?
I mean, that's exactly what I don't get. I don't know if anyone's trying to hide something, but on the 6th, I was on the floor of the gas mask. This was an insurrection led by a bunch of lawless thugs. And the bottom line is we should figure out what happened, but also how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? How do we protect our democracy? How do we make sure there's clear separation of power? It's very important that we get to the facts and get to the bottom of this to prevent it from ever happening again in our country. And both sides should want that. And Democrats and Republicans were attacked that day. Law enforcement was attacked that day. So for me, this is just a matter of getting to the facts and preventing something like this ever again in our great democracy. And you would think that all Republicans and Democrats would want to be there. It's why I really praise Fred Upton and his great leadership, and so many in the Problem Solvers Caucus who said, why are we putting a partisan label on this? Let's just do our job. The country wants us to. They want to be able to move on together and unite.
Congressman Gottheimer, I want to turn to infrastructure. I'm in no way knocking President Biden's plan, his goals, but I want to get to reality. If you cannot even get Republicans to play ball on what happened on January 6th, you do not have a snowball's chance in hell that they are going to pass the infrastructure bill. Why wouldn't Democrats consider the House Transportation Committee's plan? It's still a very big one, and you could work on other things after, just given where we are in reality.
Well, I'll disagree with you a little bit, although I think we're agreeing is there is certainly a opportunity here, and Fred and I in our caucus meeting with senators, we met last night again, are working on a piece of the president's larger package focused on physical infrastructure. And I really believe there's a bipartisan agreement that can happen there. It's coming together. We're working on it. And I'm hopeful we can get that done together because the country needs it, and we can't afford to have a package that fails. So I'm really focused, and I know our caucus is, on doing a piece of this, the physical infrastructure, the roads, the bridges, the tunnels, the energy grid, water, things that are critically important to address now. I'm hopeful we can get that done together. And I've talked to a lot of Republican senators who are ready to go on that.
Congressman Upton, to that point, clean water, new pipes in Michigan, your state absolutely needs that. Then help me understand the rationale that we hear from Republicans, from a Mitch McConnell, who's focused on blocking President Biden at every turn. Is that what constituents want? Do constituents want no compromise? Because in all of our regular lives, we compromise at home, at work, in every aspect, yet our elected officials don't seem to want to do that. What's the rationale?
Well, I would agree with your point. People want us to do our job. I share Josh's optimism that we're going to get a deal done. It may not be the Biden plan, which was literally about $2 trillion, had a lot of things that weren't physical infrastructure. Our group has met with governors, Republicans and Democrats, senators, Republicans and Democrats. We've got another Zoom call, I think, next week on this. We're trying to find the right sweet spot where we can actually move forward on a bipartisan package that the president is going to support. I've been to the White House, so has Josh, to talk specifically about an infrastructure plan that we can get both Republicans and Democrats to support. We're getting close. It's going to be the next couple of months. I think we're going to get this thing done, and I share Josh's optimism that it's going to happen.